Hello students. In the last class we studied about the mechanism of catalysis with the adsorption theory. Today let me start with the enzyme catalysis. Here you have to understand what are enzymes, then what is the mechanism of enzyme catalysis, and also we understand about the importance and the characteristics of enzymes. Okay, so to begin with, what are enzymes? Biology students studied, we call them as a biocatalyst, means they catalyze biochemical reactions, means the chemical reactions taking place in a biological system. So to define what are enzymes, enzymes are complex nitrogenous compounds, means it contains a nitrogen, and in a simple way they are proteins. The enzymes are present or they are produced in plants and animals. Okay, so enzymes are complex nitrogenous compounds which are produced in plants and animals, which will catalyze the biochemical reactions. Okay, so definitions may not be asked, but you should know what are enzymes. Most of the enzymes are proteins in nature, means they are made up of amino acids. Okay, now these enzymes are superior than the catalyst in various reactions because they are highly efficient. So let us discuss some of the examples for enzymes, then I'll move on to the characteristics of enzymes. Okay, so to list out the different characteristics of enzymes, it is easy. Almost most of the properties are similar to that of catalyst. Characteristics of enzymes, if you want to study, the first one, they are highly efficient. Now, just to give you a simple idea about what is the efficiency range for the enzyme, imagine if a reaction taking place in 1 hour, if it completes in 1 second, okay, assume it is a chemical catalyst I am telling, a reaction of 1 hour, if it completes in 1 second, then we say the rate of reaction is increased by 3600 times. That may be the efficiency of a chemical catalyst. Now, what is the role of an enzyme? Now just understand, suppose a reaction of 1 year, means a reaction if it completes without the catalyst in a time of 1 year, it can be completed in 1 second. Okay, so when you convert this, you are getting almost in the range of 3 into 10 to the power 7 times. Okay, so that is a range of the efficiency when you study for enzymes, its catalytic role. Okay, so remember they are highly efficient. That's the first characteristic. Coming to the second one, simple, they are specific. Enzymes are highly specific. Now what do you mean by specificity? I told you before. Suppose if there is a reaction, A converts into B, it is catalyzed by enzyme E1. There is some other reaction where X converts into Y. You can't use the same E1. Means for the different reactions we are using a different enzymes. So or same enzyme cannot catalyze more than one reaction. So they are highly specific. The second characteristic of enzyme is they are highly specific. Now coming to the point number 3. We know catalytic reactions also taking place at a particular temperature and we call it as optimum temperature. For enzymes also there is a range of temperature at which the reactivity or the catalytic activity of enzymes are very high, and that temperature is called optimum temperature. Okay, so they are more efficient at a particular temperature, that is called optimum temperature. So remember point number 3, optimum temperature. Enzymes are more efficient at a particular temperature called optimum temperature. Usually the range of temperature at which enzyme activity is more is 298 to 310 Kelvin. You know human body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius or in the range of the same. So we can understand the catalytic activity is maximum at a particular temperature range, and that is called as the optimum temperature. Okay, so that is the third point. Going to the fourth characteristic of enzyme, We know there are some enzymes, especially bio students studied about the digestion, how the digestion starts in the mouth and when it goes to the stomach, what happens in the intestine, something like that. So, a particular enzyme is present at a particular part of a body. It will catalyze a reaction and it requires a particular pH. Salivary amylase, what you say, is one of the enzymes. It can't catalyze a reaction in the stomach. Why? Because the pH is different. Okay, so how you study about the optimum temperature, similarly for enzymes, there is a range of pH at which enzymes have a maximum efficiency, that is called as a optimum pH. Okay, when you study about a chemical catalyst, there is only optimum temperature, but there comes a optimum pH for enzymes. So fourth point, the enzymes are more efficient at a particular pH called optimum pH. Okay, so that is a fourth point. You can easily remember optimum temperature and optimum pH together. Now, coming to the fifth one, I told you in the beginning, as far as the composition of enzymes, they are nitrogenous compounds. They are made up of amino acids or they are proteins in nature. Okay, now in some of the enzymes, there is a non-protein part present. Okay, it may be a carbohydrate, it may be a vitamin, it may be some other component. And that non-protein part, we call it as coenzyme. Remember students, what do you mean by coenzyme? A non-protein part present in the enzyme is called as a coenzyme. Okay, now you will ask a question, what is the role of this coenzyme? Why it is present? Or what is the use of this? Okay, whenever the coenzymes are present, they act as a catalytic promoters. Okay, they increase the rate of reaction. So the non-protein part, maybe sometimes the metal ions also, they act as a promoters. They increase the efficiency of enzyme, they increase the rate of reaction, so they are catalytic promoters. Simple. Similar to the catalytic promoter, there is a catalytic poison also. These coenzymes act as a catalytic promoters. Okay, so this is a fifth important point you can remember. I told you enzymes are proteins in nature. In some of the enzymes, there is a non-protein part is present, that is called coenzyme, and that coenzyme increases the efficiency of enzyme, so they are called catalytic promoters. Okay, now one more point you have to understand, whenever you say about catalytic promoter, there are catalytic inhibitors also, catalytic poisons also. Okay, especially in a biological system, some of the drugs can decrease the efficiency of enzyme and they are called catalytic inhibitors or catalytic poisons. Similar to that of chemical catalysts, for enzymes also, there are some substances which decreases efficiency. They are called catalytic inhibitors or catalytic poisons. Okay, so these are some of the points related to the characteristics of enzymes you can remember. Let me quickly repeat. They are highly efficient. They increase the rate of reaction for about 10 to the power 7 times. Okay, I just gave you one example there to what extent enzymes are efficient compared to other chemical catalysts. Second one, they are highly specific. The word itself gives you an idea. You can't use the same enzyme for many reactions. They are efficient at a particular range of temperature called as optimum temperature. They are efficient at a particular range of pH called as optimum pH, and in some enzymes a non-protein part is present, that is called as coenzyme. They act as a catalytic promoters for enzymatic activity. And the last one, the substances are like some of the drugs which will decrease the efficiency of enzyme, they are called catalytic inhibitors. Okay, so these are simple points about the enzymes. Okay, now once you understand the characteristics of enzymes, let me move on to some of the examples. Many examples you can say: industrial process, the different fermentation process where the enzymes produced by the bacteria, they catalyze the reactions. But at least 2-3 examples for enzymatic reactions you have to remember. Okay, so to begin with some of the examples. Okay, so one simple example you can understand in the synthesis of ethyl alcohol or ethanol. First we are converting cane sugar. You know what is the composition of cane sugar? It is sucrose. Okay, so C12H22O11, it will undergo hydrolysis to produce 2 monosaccharide units. We know the sucrose is a disaccharide. It will convert into glucose C6H12O6 and fructose C6H12O6. You studied before, they are functional isomers. They have the same molecular formula but just difference in the function group. Okay, so conversion of sucrose into glucose and fructose, it is an enzymatic reaction. Now this reaction is also called inversion of sugar. Okay, it is catalyzed by an enzyme called invertase. Remember students, the enzyme used in the conversion of cane sugar into glucose and fructose is invertase. Okay, this is one example for catalytic reactions of enzymes. Second example I'll give you the continuation of this reaction only. Suppose if I take a glucose C6H12O6, it will undergo further decomposition to give ethanol C2H5OH and carbon dioxide. Here the reaction catalyzed by an enzyme zymase. Okay, zymase is another enzyme which will convert a glucose into ethanol. Okay, many such examples you can give where the enzymes play a very important role in the industrial processes. Okay, these two examples you can remember. It is sufficient now. Many more examples are there in the books, but you can just remember these two examples for enzymatic activity. Okay, are you clear? So this is simple about enzyme catalysis. I told you what are enzymes, what are the characteristics of enzymes and examples for enzyme catalysis. Okay, and now let me move on to the mechanism of enzyme catalysis. Okay, so you must understand, in the last class I told you what is the mechanism of catalysis, which is explained based on adsorption theory. Okay, in adsorption theory we understood there was a diffusion of reactant molecule, adsorption, reaction, then desorption, and finally diffusion of the product molecules. Similar to that, we can study the mechanism of enzyme catalysis also. Okay, now in mechanism of enzyme catalysis what you can study is, it is just a two-step process. Okay, it's just a two-step process where the reactants we usually call it as substrate. Okay, simple. I think you can understand. Substrate and reactant is one and the same, but whenever enzymes are present we use the word substrate. Okay, now just try to remember the two steps in the mechanism of enzyme catalysis. The step 1, enzyme reacts with the substrate. I used a short form here, E for enzyme, S for substrate. Substrate is nothing but a reactant only. Now if enzyme and substrate will react each other, it will form an intermediate. It forms a complex. It is called ES complex, enzyme substrate complex. Okay, and the reaction is reversible, and that enzyme substrate complex will convert into products where enzyme is released freely. Okay, so remember here, similar to that of a catalyst, enzyme is not chemically combined, means it is not chemically consumed during the reaction. It remains same at the end of the reaction. It remains same in its mass and chemical composition. Okay, so two steps, very simple. It can be asked for 2 marks. Write the mechanism of enzyme catalysis. You don't need to draw the diagram. You can just write like a equation format. Enzyme reacts with the substrate to give enzyme substrate complex, which will finally produce the products and enzyme. Okay, now here which enzyme can bind with the which substrate? Okay, there comes a selectivity, there comes a specificity with the binding. Okay, you can understand with this rough diagram here, the substrate will have some specific binding sites. Okay, even enzyme is also having some binding sites. That configuration of these binding site will decide whether this enzyme can bind with this substrate. Okay, I can draw the different other configurations. Then suppose if they have a different binding sites, then it can't form a enzyme substrate complex. What is understandable from this rough diagram is, enzyme has got some binding site, substrate also having complementary binding site. Once they combine, it will form an intermediate. So this diagram shows it is a intermediate formed. Okay, now once the enzyme substrate complex is formed, it will convert into products where enzyme remains the same at the end of the reaction. Okay, so just a two-step process. As I told you, when it is asked for a 2 marks, you are writing the first equation. Enzyme reacts with the substrate forming ES complex, which converts into product and enzyme. You can write in one sentence explanation. Don't write paragraph together explanation for a 2 marks. Just what you write in the equation, that only you can write in a one sentence. Okay, so this is easy about the mechanism of enzyme catalysis. Are you clear? I hope you understood the two-step process in the mechanism of enzyme catalysis, and very simple things you have to understand when you write it in the exam. The equilibrium sign, if you forget to write in the first step, then also there is a possibility you lose a mark. Okay, so once the product is formed, you can't reverse it back, but during the formation of a ES complex, it can be converted back into enzyme and substrate also. Okay, among these two steps of the mechanism, the first step is reversible, whereas the second step is irreversible. Okay, I hope you understood. That is easy about the mechanism of enzyme catalysis. Students, try to understand the last concept of catalysis here, that is about a catalyst in industry. There are so many industrial processes where we use a catalyst. I told you they will increase the efficiency of a reaction. They produce a more yield because of the catalyst there. So just remember these three examples which is given in the NCERT. The first one, I think all the three you studied in the P block elements chapter. Okay. The first one is a Haber's process. The synthesis of ammonia from nitrogen and hydrogen. It is catalyzed by iron, a finely divided iron we use. Molybdenum acts as a promoter. And temperature of around 773 Kelvin and a pressure of 200 bar. Okay, we can use the iron oxide also. Even potassium oxide and alumina is used nowadays in this Haber's process. But you can remember iron, or a finely divided iron, which acts as a catalyst in Haber's process. There is the synthesis of ammonia. Okay, now the second one is the Ostwald's process. As I mentioned, you studied this also, synthesis of nitric acid in the P block elements. Okay, so here the first step of Ostwald's process, ammonia treated with the oxygen forming nitric oxide and water. This is actually a catalytic process where we use platinized asbestos at a temperature of 573 Kelvin. Okay, when I just told you Ostwald's process is a manufacture of nitric acid, we will show you the two more steps also. After forming nitric oxide, it will further undergo oxidation to give nitrogen dioxide. That nitrogen dioxide again reacts with water and oxygen forming nitric acid. Okay, it's a three-step process, but actually the platinized asbestos is used in the first step where ammonia and oxygen converting into nitric oxide. Okay, simple. Now the third important process, that is a contact process. You know, king of chemicals, synthesis of sulfuric acid is done by contact process. Here the first step is the oxidation of sulfur dioxide to give sulfur trioxide. Okay, so here also we use a platinized asbestos or a vanadium pentoxide. Remember the temperature. When we discussed about optimum temperature before, I told you a catalyst or an enzyme, it will catalyze the reaction at a particular temperature only. If you are not mentioning the temperature, if you just try to arrest all the story, it is of no use. So sulfur dioxide undergoes oxidation to give sulfur trioxide. It is catalyzed by platinized asbestos or vanadium pentoxide at a temperature of about 673 to 723 Kelvin. Okay, then this sulfur trioxide will be absorbed by sulfuric acid forming oleum or fuming sulfuric acid. That oleum then diluted with a calculated amount of water to give concentrated H2SO4. Okay, so the remaining two steps we show just for getting the product, but actually the catalytic process is a first reaction. Okay, so if it is asked for a 1 mark, give any one example for an industrial application of catalyst. Okay, you can write any one of this, or apart from these three you can write some other examples also, but remember not just the equation, you have to remember the temperature at which that catalyst is used. Okay, so that's all about catalysts in industry. Okay, are you clear? So this is simple about catalysts.